Hello friends, today we would be looking at a class of aptitude problems, a type of aptitude problems which are known as work problems or rate problems. This is a sample problem. It might look very difficult to you right now, it might look very difficult, but in next 15 minutes we would learn a technique which would make this problem very simple. Okay, and this is something that you should not leave in any examination. You should always attempt these types of problems. They are extremely simple, they are extremely direct, you are likely to get them right, and in next 15 minutes I will demonstrate a technique which would enable you to solve any and all such problems very quickly and efficiently. So let's start. So let's get our basics straight first. Right. There are only two terminologies I would like you to remember. One, direct variation, and second, inverse variation. And these are very natural, you will understand them very quickly. There is nothing typical about these. Direct variation, let's understand direct variation first. So here is a field which needs to be plotted. Something has to be shown in the field. So I have called in two workers who are working in this field. So there are these two people who are working in this field. Now if I increase the length of this field, increase the area of this field, I make it twice as much, right? So I have increased the area of this field by 2, right? I have made it 2 times, right? What would be the time required? How would the time required by these workers change? So very quickly you would say that if the area becomes double, the time required would also become double, given that the number of workers working on this field remains the same. So I can say that time required is in direct variation, or varies directly or varies proportionally, is in direct proportion to the area of the field. As I increase the area, the time required also increases. We can plot this. If we had to draw this relationship on a graph, this is how we would draw. So if this is area, then, and this is time required to work on the field, then this would be a straight line. Very simple, right? So this is known as this relationship, which is in which if one quantity increases, the other also increases proportionally by the same amount, not by the same amount, but by the same time, right? In direct variation, such a relationship is known as direct variation. Now let's look at indirect variation. So now what happens if I increase the number of workers? So let's say that I had 2 workers, and now instead of 2 workers, I am not changing the area of the field, but instead of 2 workers, I have now 4 workers. What would happen to the time required to work on this field? How would it change? Very quickly you would say that since I have doubled the number of workers, the time required would become half. So as I increase the number of workers, the time required decreases proportionally, right? Such a relationship is known as inverse variation. So I can write it as time required is in inverse proportion, or varies inversely, or is in inverse variation to the number of workers, provided that the area remains unchanged. Other variables are kept constant, the type of soil and all of those things remain the same. Such a relationship, if I had to plot on a graph, I can plot it like this. So this is number of workers and this is time required. As I increase the number of workers, the time required decreases. Very simple. Notice that these curves, these things that I have drawn here, these curves that I drew here, right? Another thing was when I showed you the direct variation, these curves are straight lines. In all the questions, it is not necessary that these curves are straight lines, right? I will demonstrate this using an example later on, but sometimes if I change a variable, right, if I make some variable twice, my final outcome, the time required or something else might change 4 times, right? So that relationship cannot be represented using a straight line. We'll see it with an example later on. But for now, the only thing I want you to remember, the only thing that we need to solve these rate related problems is direct variation, understanding direct variation and understanding inverse variation or inverse proportion. So before we look at some problems and start solving some examples, this is how this entire thing, the entire rate, all the questions related to rate kind of fit in. So all of these questions are solved using unitary method. We have to apply unitary method some way or another. There are some questions related to races, we'll tackle them in a separate class. There are questions related to rates which we will be doing today, and subsequently some questions related to rates involve rate of flow of liquids. They use pipes, cisterns, buckets and those kind of things. We'll deal with such questions again in subsequent class. And today we would be exclusively focusing our attention on the work related problems. Rate of work. Today we will be dealing with those problems. Now, depending upon the complexity, right? Sometimes examiners, especially nowadays in all kinds of competitive exams, there is some variation, there is some additional complexity added to these problems, right? So this complexity, today we would be looking at direct variation and inverse variation. We would be doing this today, right? To add more complexity, sometimes head start is given, other times 2 or more rates are given in the question. We'll look at these problems later on in a subsequent class. So today we would be exclusively working on rate problems related to direct variation and inverse variation. So let's start with a very simple example, and in this example we will develop the technique of unitary method, right? In a very special way we'll use that technique, and using this technique you will be able to solve all the problems. You won't have to use lot of time or you won't have to scratch your head to solve any and all such problems. So the question asks us to find a relationship between men and number of days. So it has 2 variables, men and days. My unknown is number of days. So my unknown I write here. Just look at this, just carefully look at this and you will understand what I am doing. Unknown I write here. This is days. The known variable in this case is men. So I write it here. This is known variable. Okay, so these are my variables. Now what does the question tell me? The question tells me 5 men, 30 days. This is given in the question. This becomes the first row of this table. In the second row, what do? I change this 5 to 1. Right? Now, how does this men and day relate? If I increase the number of men, the number of days would decrease. It's very natural. So men is inversely related to days. So there is an inverse relationship going on here. So if there is an inverse relationship, as soon as I change this to 1, this 5 comes here and gets multiplied. Remember that? It's very natural. If only one person is doing the job, obviously he will take 5 times the time, 5 times the number of days. This is very obvious, this is very natural, but mechanically I can simply, as soon as I change this to 1, this is an inverse relationship, mechanically I would do multiply and then 5. In the third step, I write 10 because I am being asked, the question asks me to determine what this value would be for 10 men. And in this case, in case of when there is an inverse relationship going on, this variable comes in the third row, this variable comes and gets divided. So the answer becomes 15, which is correct. You can directly say that it's correct. Okay. So remember, there are 3 rows. The first row is what is given in the question. Unknown comes on this side. Second row, I make these variables on this side, everything on this side, I make it 1. And this is why, because everything in the second row, everything on this side becomes 1. This is known as unitary method. That is why we call it unitary method. This row is telling me that if all these variables were 1, what would be the value of unknown? This is what this row is telling me. If the man was 1, it would take me 150 days to complete the work. It would take them 150 days to this person 150 days to complete the work. And now in this final row, I find out the value of my unknown for the value given. So 10, and because there is inverse relationship, this 10 gets divided here and this 5 gets multiplied here in this second row. Let's look at another example where there is a direct relationship. Okay. So let me rub this out. This I have to remove all of this. I'll keep some rows, the top row, because this I'll be reusing again and again. Okay. So now my unknown is number of men. So my men come here. Variables, I have been given actually 2 variables here. There are 2 variables. If you read carefully, there is number of tasks is a variable. So this is tasks, and then number of days. Right. If I increase number of tasks and keep the number of days constant, I need to increase number of men. So there is a direct relationship here. And if I increase number of days and number of tasks remain the same, I can reduce the number of men. So there is a inverse relationship going on here. Right. So there is one with direct, one with inverse. Now let's put in the values. Right. 3 tasks, 30 days, number of men 5. Okay. For direct relationship, I'll circle the values just to make it very clear where the things are going. Here I say if I had to complete only one task, obviously if number of tasks would reduce, number of men can also decrease, it would reduce proportionally. So this 3, it comes here at the bottom. Right? In case of direct relationship, in the second row, the value from the first row comes in the denominator. Remember that. Okay. Now this 30 is inverse relationship. We know where it would go. It would go here. Now let's look at the last row. The last row, 2 tasks. So this becomes 2, 10 days. And this becomes 5 into 30 divided by 3. This 10 we know already, it would come in the denominator. And for direct relationship, this in the third row, the value goes in the numerator, which is very obvious. If I increase the number of tasks, my number of men would increase. So this has to come here. It is very natural, right? But I can do it mechanically now. I know that this 2 would come here. So now to solve it very quickly, this 3 and 3 get cancelled, this 10 and 10, and this becomes, answer becomes 10. Right. One more thing, remember, do not simplify the expression right here, because here there would be more terms added and subsequently you can cancel out a few more terms and derive the answer very quickly. So do not simplify at this step. Let's look at a slightly complicated example. This is the last example that I would be solving, right? This and maybe the next one, and the rest of them are kind of tricky, and I would ask them to solve. I'll give you the answer, but I would ask you to solve it yourself, right? So whenever you listen to these classes, it is better if you have a paper and pen and you are following what I am doing in the class. That would really help you a lot. But if you cannot do that, if for some reason you are watching it over phone, you are watching it in a bus, then don't worry, you can still take a lot of things away from this class. Okay, but do practice. However you do it, you should definitely practice. So again, in this example, we have 48 men working 5 hours a day and doing the work in 24 days. So the first thing I do is I find out what is my unknown. So I have been asked number of days. Days would come here. This is my unknown. What are all the variables? Let's write them down. 48, number of men, that is one variable. Hours, that is another variable. That's it. Men and hours, that is all I have. Okay, so there is nothing here. So now let's determine how these things relate to the unknown. If I increase number of men, number of days would decrease. So this is inverse. If I increase number of hours, if number of hours worked per day is increased, number of days required would decrease. Okay, so this is again in inverse. As soon as I have done this, as soon as I have written inverse here, as soon as I have determined the relationship here, my work is done. Other things I can just do mechanically. I can just write the values and I am done. So let's quickly fill in the values and right. So there are 48 men. Number of hours is 5 and number of days is 24. Now we'll write 1 here. This is my unitary row. 24 into 48 into 5, and then everything is inverse. So notice that I have not put any circles here. Then I have 36 men and then 10 hours, and this becomes 24 into 48 into 5 divided by 36 into 10, and my final answer becomes 16. Okay, so this is something I have already done. Okay, again very simple. Moving on. Now in this question, one more variable has been added. Right? So there is a twist here. Right? First of all, I have been asked number of men. So men is the unknown. Second, there is one more variable here. Actually, there are two more variables, right? So the first variable is hours. Then double the land. So land is another variable. What is the area of land? And twice as hard. So hardness is another variable, and number of days is another variable. So there are quite a few additional variables here. So men and days comes here, and there are two more variables introduced. One is the area and second is hardness. Okay. So we already know that if I increase the number of days, number of men would decrease. If I increase the number of hours, the men are working per day, then number of men it would take to do the work would decrease. So we know this is inverse 100%. If I increase the area, number of men would increase. So this is direct. If I increase the hardness, number of men would again increase because it becomes more difficult to till the land. So this is direct. So there are two direct variables, there are two inverse variables. Right? So there are two inverse relationships and two direct relationships. Let's fill in the values very quickly. We will do this. So 48 men, 5 hours a day, 24 days, right? And this is 1 and 1 here. Right? I'll just assume 1 because I am doubling it. In this last row, I would just double it. Very simple. This is my 1 1 row. This is of course 1 1. This is circle because this is direct, and then 1. This remains 1 and 1, so no change. 48 into 24 into 5, and then this 1 and 1 would come here, and then finally 10 hours a day, double the land, twice as hard, so this becomes 2 2 in 36 days, so this becomes 36, and now this value, right, I'll write it right here. So this would become, I'll change this row. Okay, so this belongs to the second row, but I'll just change this value. I'll just change this value and add these terms right here. Okay, so this 36 would come here, this 10 would come here, this 2 and 2 would go here. Right. So solving this, what do we get? We get our answer becomes 64. Very simple, right? Now let's look at a slightly tricky problem. The next one is a slightly tricky problem. So let's look at that. In the previous problem, right? In the previous problem, we were given the area of the field. In this problem, instead of being given the area of the field is not the variable. the variable now is the length of the side of a square field. So the field is a square, right, and my variable is the length of the side. But the amount of work that the people have to do, that the workers have to do, depends upon the area. This thing varies as the square of the length. Right. The area, it changes as the square of the length, and that is the trick involved here. Right. So the only change from the previous question, all other values I have kept them the same. The only thing I wanted to demonstrate by this question is that you should read the problem very, very carefully with twice the length. So you should not write 2 here, right? If you write area here, this would become 4, right? This would become 4. It would, if length is increased by 2, it would become 4 times as hard for the person, or he would take 4 times as much time. So this would become, instead of 2, this would become 4. So this becomes 4 and there is a 4 here. So my final answer would become 64 into 2, which is equal to 128. Right? So read the question very carefully, and you have to use your common sense that the amount of work does not depend upon the length, it depends upon the area, which is length squared. So if I make the length twice as large, the amount of effort that needs to be put in becomes 4 times as large. So that is what I have put here. Good. So I told you that we will be able to solve such problems very quickly, and it should take then, just by drawing this diagram, it would take you less than a minute, 100% guaranteed to solve any and all such problems, right? And we have just done that. Look how simple this problem has become. We have just made it very, very simple. Now other problems, I have kept them here to demonstrate what are the various ways in which examiners would try to trick you. So this is an example of one such method, one such trick they use. So let's look at this. Here the question asks us to determine, or the question is kind of using the relationship between food and students. Food and number of days the food would last, and the number of students. So there is 300 hungry students, there is 300 students, and number of days the food you can sort of feed them is 25. So we have put our unknown here, which is days. Okay. So and our known value is students. That is our only variable. So there is 300 students and number of days is 25. If I increase number of students, number of days would obviously decrease. So there is an inverse relationship here, but that's not the trick. We already know how to do inverse relationship and how to solve it. The trick is 200 more. So this question is asking us, if I add 200 more students to this already present 300 students, the total number would become 500, and most of the students, in fact lot of students, would just miss that. They would simply write here 200, which is incorrect. The total number of students now becomes 500, and this is what we should use. So there would be a row for 1 here. There is an inverse relationship. So 25 into 300, and 500 would, for 500 the answer would be 500, and this you can calculate it yourself what the final answer would be, right? But the thing that I wanted to demonstrate here is read the question, the terms which are attached to the numbers very, very carefully. Understand the meaning of each number and where it should go very, very carefully. Let's look at another problem. Here also there is a trick involved. Instead of directly giving us a value, the examiner has actually made this question little tricky by giving us a percent increase. Right? So instead of 100%, it could have been 150%, it could have been decreased by 50%, and all of those other things. Right? But you have to understand that what does it mean when I increase the efficiency by 100%. So here I'll again note down the terms. Right? I'm not going to solve the problem. I'm going to give you simply give you the terms. What are the various terms here? So our variables are, right, our unknown, our unknown is how many potters, so number of potters. Variables or the known values here are number of pots, how many pots I need, days, and efficiency, and unknown is number of potters. So here it is, in the first row it would be 11, 143 pots, 8 days, and efficiency is 1. Now the relationship is, if this increases, number of potters required is increased, so there is a direct here. Number of days, potters would decrease, so there is an inverse here. Efficiency is increased, number of potters would decrease, so there is a inverse here. So there is a direct here. Right? But the trick is in the third row. So this would become 1, 1, 1, and there would be something here. You can write the expression yourself. The trick is, if I increase the efficiency by 100%, what does it mean? It means that my efficiency from 1, now it becomes 2. Right? And that is what we have to understand here. Right? We have to understand the meaning of increasing something by 100%. So that is the trick here. Now if I fill in the values here, so number of pots becomes 286, number of days becomes 4, and the final expression you can write here, your answer would come out to be 22. So you can solve everything yourself and then your answer would be 22. So you can do this yourself. This is another tricky question. Again, here instead of giving us the time directly, the examiner has given us the start point and the end point for an interval of time. So there is this person Ram who starts 8 am and he reaches school at 8:22 am. So the time he takes is 22 minutes. Similarly, here the time he would take is 12 minutes, and this is something that we have to derive. These are the things that we have to use, 22 minutes and 12 minutes. This is something that as soon as we read the question we should be able to figure out, and we have been asked to find the new speed. So just quickly, it's very simple question, we can solve it very quickly. So unknown, here is the speed, and my known is time. If I increase the time, if I am increasing the time, the speed at which I have to drive obviously can decrease because I am taking longer now. So there is an inverse relationship here. So let's write things down now. 22 minutes, the speed was 18, right? If I have to reach in 1 minute, it's an inverse relationship, then this becomes 22. If I have to reach in, obviously if I have to reach in 1 minute, then I have to, my speed has to increase by 22 times, right? So my speed has to increase. And now finally, to reach in 12 minutes, my speed has to be 18 into 22 divided by 12, which comes to 15. You can solve this. 15. Good. So now we have used this technique in several ways, several different kinds of problems, and you can see that it's a very, very simple, very, very direct technique. So most of the time would be spent in actually deriving the various variables and their values, what you need to put in this table, and finding out what is the kind of relationship with the unknown, whether the variables are directly related or whether they are inversely related. That would be the trick involved in the question. That is where your time would be spent, not in these mundane calculations. So now in the next class, in the next few classes, I think maybe 2 or 3 classes, we would be discussing variations of rate problems. So I told you there are several kinds of variations. One of the important kind of variation is the following, right? These questions where we are given rates of 2 people cannot be solved by using the techniques that we just discussed. So these questions cannot be directly solved by using the table that we drew just now. They cannot be solved, right? And you have to understand that. So as soon as you see a question in which there are two rates here, don't apply this technique directly, right? Similarly, if you see a question in which there is a head start, so what is a head start? So if there are two people A and B, both are working on a task, right? And if A starts a task before B, we say that B is giving a head start to A. B starts the task later, he is giving a head start to A. And this time, right, this difference in time is known as head start. And essentially they are starting at different times. So there also, in these problems also, we cannot apply the technique which we just discussed. We cannot directly apply the technique. We'll have to do some fudging first, and we'll discuss this. It will make these problems also very, very simple in the subsequent classes. So I do recommend, I do ask you to subscribe to our channel, so as soon as we upload the class, you will be able to get it and increase your knowledge. Thank you very much.